Yes. Okay, we're calling the meeting to order at 4:40 p.m. Apologies for the late, 10 minutes late, but we did have some technical difficulties we needed to resolve. So going through the agenda, we'll start with the approval of our agendas for the last three meetings and also the approval of the meeting minutes for August 7th. Which is up to probably the last agenda. What's that?
Motion to approve all the agendas.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Perfect. All right, we have a bylaw discussion. Everybody saw the bylaws. Anybody have any questions, issues? Motion to accept?
I move.
All right, move to accept. Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
And just so.
And we did have a proxy vote, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we know we need
Christie.
2/3.
Christie turned hers in, so.
Okay, and she voted for approval?
Yep.
All right, so we got,
votes, we're good.
And Larry is gonna send his in tomorrow.
well, we got 4/5, so we got the official approval.
Thank you guys very much. Just a note, we'll do the PCAC vote in March.
March 12th.
And if you can't make it, please give us a proxy.
All righty, chair's report's a little lengthy today, but I'll try and go through it quickly. Okay, as you're undoubtedly aware, the fare increase in policy changes approved by the MTA board took effect earlier this week. While we were pleased that the senior disabled discount now includes the AM peak and that the family discount fare now includes children up to 17, we expressed concerns regarding the elimination of both the round trip and 10-tip tickets and objected to the drastic reduction in the validity period of purchase tickets. The Long Island Railroad will honor the expiration dates of previously purchased tickets. Those commuters who also use New York City Transit can no longer purchase or reload their Metro cards as the system transfers fully to Omni. Also brought to our attention was a change in the refund policy for one-way and day pass tickets, which are not refundable past 2 minutes after the time of purchase, except as follows. Paper tickets can be refunded at the ticket window of the station they were bought at with no fee up to 30 minutes after purchase. This applies even if you bought the ticket at a machine, as long as the station has an open ticket office. Mobile tickets can be refunded with no fee for 2 minutes after purchase if they have not been activated. Again, this was just brought to our attention. I'm really not too thrilled with this policy, to tell you the truth. We can discuss that a little bit later on. Unfortunately, this information was not included in the public notices, and while it's available on the refund policy webpage, it isn't on the fare website. And while the MTA has come a long way in being more transparent, we call on them to discuss any further changes at upcoming board meetings so the public can weigh in and be heard. The Long Island Railroad is now in the process of replacing the existing ticket machines with an upgraded version throughout the system. We will be following up on a request for additional ticket machine locations, such as the West Concourse and Penn Station, as these new machines become available. The replacement work is scheduled for completion sometime this summer. The possibility of a Long Island Railroad strike later this month is still a distinct possibility, as both sides appear to be at an impasse. Hopefully, another extension will be requested granted that would push off the strike until spring. It should be noted that based on the previous strike contingency plan that was presented, the Long Island Railroad will not be able to accommodate all of the customers who will be looking for bus service into New York City. The $36 million upgrade of the Valley Stream Station, including a new escalator, was recently completed, and renovation work at the Babylon Station continues on schedule. PCAC staff members and board members continue to be involved in the station working group, Station Advisory Working Group, SWAG, for the Penn Station revitalization. Potential developers submitted letters of intent to Amtrak in December, and a master developer scheduled to be selected by May of 2026. The transfer of the portion of the former Lawrence Aviation site in Port Jefferson has hit a snag, with all parties continuing to work on a resolution. This parcel is critical for future improvements to the Port Jefferson branch, as this property would be used for a new rail yard and possible relocation of the existing terminal to west of Route 112. Amtrak continues to work 7 days a week on the restoration of the first of two East River tunnels in hopes of completing the project on schedule as they work with the Long Island Railroad regarding some differences in timing of completing the work. The relationship between these two agencies is strained, to put it mildly. PCAC staff is also gearing up for the new legislative session in Albany in hopes of getting our riders a vote on the MTA board, as well as other legislation that will benefit our organization. Unfortunately, Jack Connors, who was our primary operative in the state capitol, will be leaving us later this month. Metrically, had an excellent year in 2025 with on-time performance of about 95%.
Sorry, everyone. Can you still hear us?
And now we can. I was just going to say we could no longer hear Jerry. Yes.
Okay, we cut out for a second, but we're back. Please let us know if that happens again. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So metrically, the Long Island Railroad had an excellent year in 2025, on-time performance of about 95%. However, there's still no guaranteed connections to Jamaica. The 60-40 split between Penn and Grand Central Madison, as originally anticipated, became fairly consistent, and ridership is now at slightly over 90% of pre-COVID levels. And last but not least, congestion pricing reached its one-year anniversary on January 5th. Between the start date and October 31st, 2025, 21+ million fewer vehicles entered the central business district, and vehicle speeds on crossings improved 23% year-over-year average during the morning rush hours. Long Island Railroad projects in the 2020-24 capital plan, supported by the revenue raised to date, include Babylon, interlocking renewal, accessibility improvements at Hollis, and the ADA Forest Hill platform extension. Long Island Railroad Jamaica substation, M9A cars, and annual track berth. And that concludes the chair's report for this month. Do you have any questions? I'm sure we may have some first board members.
I just have a couple comments
Sure.
about my experience this
Sure.
week with the new validity period and non-round trip tickets. So I knew I was commuting into Manhattan yesterday from Hicksville to Penn Station. Tuesday night, I go to check the schedule. Of course, I want to buy the tickets and can't buy the tickets for the next day. That's the one experience we knew that was going to be negative coming to all riders. So then next morning, of course, I don't remember to do it because I always buy them the night before.
Yeah.
I get on board, I buy it, I do it as I'm getting on board, and I already have my first email and text message saying you didn't activate it beforehand. You can see on the media that a lot of people are complaining about it. I got my own first one as well. But even coming now, I knew there was a particular train that I was going to catch. The train was running late, and I said, okay, I'm not going to buy my ticket yet. I might end up driving it or whatever. I get the ticket, I validate it, train full with Rangers fans, no one checked tickets. So it got validated, so they got their fee for it, but yet no one's coming around to even check the tickets. But yesterday, my experience was the opposite, where they come around and check. I'm 3 minutes too late, and I get the email. So it was something that I spoke at the public statement about elimination of round trip, and there it is. It affected me already.
Oh, yeah.
And then also being able to not being trying to buy the tickets the night before, because that's what most people do, is let me check the schedule for tomorrow so I get up on time, I get to the train station on time, let me buy my tickets while I'm at it. It's almost like they got you on both ends. You're trying to buy the ticket in advance, they don't let you buy the ticket, and then you're forced to buy it or try to remember to buy it as you're boarding. So not a good experience.
As anticipated, we do have a lot of blowback from commuters. News 12 seems to be highlighting that over the last couple of days. I saw that on the train today. In fact, I was running late. I was going to hope to catch an earlier train, and I forgot my ticket at home, and I'll just go right to hop. And then I realized if I just hop on a train, I'm probably going to stop. It was both the fare plus a step up there. I couldn't buy the ticket in time. So I just went home and said, I'll just catch the next train. Catch the 320 rather than catch the 259 train. So definitely it's not perfect. There's going to be a lot of people who are unhappy, and
They didn't waste no time sending that email saying that
Oh, yeah.
You didn't activate it. I mean, I'm sure it's automated, but it was within.
Oh, it's all automated.
Yeah.
Everything's automated. Rick, you have anything?
Has there been any response yet or from the MTA about discussing these refund policy issues? And is there any sense of whether this 2-minute period for mobile tickets possibly be adjusted? 2 minutes feels.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It just seems ridiculous.
Well, that's why today I was hesitant to buy it because the train was running late and I'm like, I might need to get in the car and start driving. And I knew if I bought it, I wouldn't be able to get refunded for it.
I don't love the idea that we're all being encouraged to be actively on our phones while we're walking through the station to, be navigating all the different menus. I appreciate that the last minute activations on board the train was not desirable, but everyone constantly navigating train time as they walk through every station, it's not desirable either,
Or driving.
or driving.
So we found out, I found out about, the refund policy yesterday morning at like 6:30 in the morning. Because we had a media inquiry about it. But it was the first time I had heard about that particular change. Which I have been out, right? But I know that hadn't been discussed previously. We raised it as an issue, asking for it to be just for there to be a greater grace period.
Flexibility,
Yeah,
because you're losing the flexibility on the activation window side.
Right, well, it's kind of like the trifecta. You want to buy it early, this way you have it. They're not letting you buy it early. So it's like, okay, let me buy it just before, this way I could activate it. But if I don't use it, I'm not gonna get refunded if I don't use it. So
hopefully there will be more conversation about it at the board. Hopefully there will be more conversation about it at the board table.
Yeah.
I think now that it's in the public discourse.
Oh, yeah. Well, the 2-minute thing is it's ridiculous. Especially when the trains are allowed to be 6 minutes late, but we have to be within 2 minutes. I mean, come on. It's just, if you get caught in a situation where you're on, occasionally trains get canceled.
I don't know if the
or
council.
canceled or late or whatever,
Yeah.
like, all right, let me take an alternate method. And now, like you just said, a train's running 6 minutes late. What if it's
Yeah.
15 minutes late?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, screw that, I'm gonna get in my car,
Yeah.
but I can't get my ticket refunded.
I don't, you have a quorum. I don't know if the council would like to write a letter to, on fair policy and just internally ask for reconsideration of that policy. We have a MNRCC meeting next week. We can also raise that at that council. Just as matters of fair policy.
Well, I think they should re-review it. And like you said, the fact that it wasn't really called out for when we were doing the fair hearings,
If that's what you,
It's
like, then one of you are gonna have to, make a motion.
make it nice publicly, but I missed that entirely.
Think it was ever discussed, Jerry.
Has
Yeah.
anyone looked to see, and maybe if you see, you can look into what are other rail lines, what's their refund policy, what's the turnaround time for it, like just as comparison? 2 minutes seems,
Yeah, I think we should do some research.
I mean, if there were stores that gave you a 1-day return policy, I'm sure somebody would step in government and say, that's unlawful, or that's
Yeah.
not right for the customers, and here it is.
I've looked a bit into different railroads, activation window or ticket validity windows, and this new policy is one of the more aggressive approaches that we've seen, but we can look at refund windows as well.
I can't imagine others being too many.
No, oh, no, definitely not. And I don't think anybody else, purchased a ticket. I don't think anybody else has it where it's invalid after 4 a.m. the next morning. But I know that,
And you can't buy it in advance, so it's,
No.
the ticket I'm buying now is only valid until 4 a.m., but I want to buy a ticket for tomorrow, but it's too early to buy it for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, no, and I think you're gonna get the real blowback. Come Memorial Day weekend, we get all the Hamptonites going out there and they want to buy their ticket to come home on Sunday, and then they find out you can't do that,
Or attention.
or attention, or,
I think a lot of it is you look at the schedule to see when am I commuting tomorrow, when am I traveling tomorrow, like you said, Memorial Day people at home. I see my train that I want to take, I want to buy the ticket, I can't buy the ticket.
If you would like us to do the research and consider writing a letter or raising it with MNRCC, if you would like that,
I'll put the motion on the floor for
Yeah,
that.
I second that, and definitely add in what other rail lines are
Are you
doing.
good with that, right, Craig?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so,
and since you do have a forum, if Larry wants to, chime in.
Harry, you there? I'm gonna be busy on the setup.
He agrees. I can't speak for that.
Yeah, no,
I don't know when's the correct time. I wanted to say something related to.
I am here.
Okay.
Okay,
you good, Larry?
yeah.
Alrighty,
Stu had his hand.
all right, Stu, and then we'll go
And
to it.
then Stu had his hand.
All right, Stu, what you got?
Hi, I'm sorry, you called me, Stuart?
Yes.
Yeah, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, okay. First of all, I just want to second everything that's been commented so far. And I just want to add that if you've never tried to cancel a ticket on the app before, it's pretty challenging to figure out how to do it. You have to go to the lower left corner where the menu item is abbreviated, so it's got an ellipsis, so you don't even know what it says. And you have to figure out how to navigate it. It took me like 10 minutes the first time I looked up how to do it just to figure it out. So, the 2 minutes is particularly absurd because of that. And I also, and I know I'm really just reiterating some of what was said, but when I get to the station, sometimes the train is canceled, it breaks down, something goes wrong. So I bought the ticket, the train's canceled, they may send a bus, but I'm not going to take the bus. I'm going to go back home. The policy is that there's no refund for that. There's no refund if the service is disrupted. So that's just another problem with this ticket expiring the next day. And I'll reserve the rest of my comments for later. Thank you.
In terms of the service suspensions, we had a service suspension on my Bridgeport, Washington on January 2nd, which I guess luckily was 2 days before this new policy started. But they don't refund the ticket, even if the railroad is shut down for hours, seems to be the new policy. Is the prior policy about refunds in the event of suspension still in effect and there are conflicting policies in effect, or was that one removed?
I believe it's still in effect.
Hannah, do you know for sure if that's still in effect?
I will have to get back to you.
Okay.
I think that there was an article in LIR today, and I think that it looked at that specific example, in fact. And I think that it said that that continues to be in effect, but that it didn't clarify that.
Well, that's something we need to ask for clarification, from the railroad on that. I mean, it should continue, because how do you penalize someone if you're not providing the service?
Christopher D. Gordon has his hand raised also.
I see. Oh, there's Chris. Sorry, with your background, I couldn't see the hand up. All right.
That's okay, guys, but just to say one thing, there is one thing that it is concerning about accessibility, because they also use the 10-day ticket. And the problem is now, since that's gone, not every senior or disabled person uses a phone. And as you know, as I did check yesterday at Jamaica with Anna Garcia, because as I have to go out a lot with the Omni checking testing, I did see the part of the machine, there's a little circle, looks like that's the Omni. It looks like that's where you're supposed to tap into your Omni card. And that's something we need to find out from the Cupid division. They're going to let us use the Omni card for full fare and accessibility, because then that will be much easier to keep the customers in place. But what I did also get a chance to try out is the reduced fare from Atlantic to Jamaica, which is $3.50. And we do need to have that more announced more on at stations, like if you're in the city, because I actually call it the reduced fare city ticket, because $3.50 going from Brooklyn to Queens or Queens to Manhattan is $3.50, even on the Metro North. So we just need to let them know that accessibility needs to have a little more optional. If we can have Omni optional, why can't the railroads have an option? Fair is fair.
Good point.
Jerry, I just want
Yeah.
to correct something.
Sure.
Or a second. Only the one-way ticket can be refunded within 2 minutes. A day pass is not refundable at all, not even within the 2 minutes.
Really?
I'm reading it right now in the ticket cancellation. Non-activated tickets can be canceled within 2 minutes of purchase to receive a full refund. Monthly and weekly tickets canceled after 2 minutes of purchase will receive a partial refund and shall be subject to a $10 refund fee. One-way tickets are non-refundable after 2 minutes. Day pass tickets cannot be canceled at any time.
Okay, and so,
Wow.
That's crazy.
And also, if you buy a paper ticket, you have to go to a window at the station.
That you bought it.
Right, they
The
bought,
same window at the same station.
even if the window, but they have to be open.
yeah.
So if you went to a ticket machine to buy your ticket, then you have to find the window. Which is an interesting person.
If there is no attendant at your station, you have no option.
Well, that's just it. How many stations do we have that don't have ticket windows? I mean, got the old Patchogue, right? Yeah, Patchogue has a ticket window that closes early. But I mean, if you're in Oakdale or Great River, forget about it. There's nothing.
Larry has his hand.
How long are they valid for once you activate it?
They want it 4 a.m. 4 a.m. the next day.
Well, no, because I bought a ticket to come here and it's telling me right now it expires in 34 minutes and no one ever scans my ticket.
Activation for 4 hours.
If
So
you
I-
buy but don't activate, it's 4 a.m. If you buy and activate, then it's whatever you said, 30 minutes.
It's not more than 30 minutes, because then,
Well, mine said that I have 34 minutes remaining. I took the 3:58 train. So I bought it just before that. So
I mean, if you were transferring,
how long is the ticket valid once you activate it? I don't see it anywhere in these terms and conditions, but
And you were originally.
the one that I bought
Probably.
2 hours.
an hour and a half ago, so it must be 2 hours because I bought it probably an hour and a half ago. It's telling me I have 34 minutes left because no one scanned it on the train. So right now it's still a valid ticket.
Sounds like that should be more clear when you buy the ticket, exactly how long you have to use it and activate it.
Well, they want you to activate it before you get on the train.
Yeah.
Well, what if I don't get on that train or that train's late, right? So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna go later on. You don't even have that option. You have to board a train within 2 hours of buying it and activating it. And if I'm trying to avoid the $8 fee, I'm standing on the track, I'm standing on the platform, let me activate it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. My train could be canceled, it could be delayed. I gotta get on a train within 2 hours.
When they first announced this change, I thought the motivation was to remove the need for activation altogether. The fact that we still have activation and have gotten rid of the 10 trip seems to.
I'm 100% with you, Brett. I'm kind of surprised the activation option is there at all,
Right.
honestly.
I think there was a lot of blowback during the public meetings about the activation, the automatic activation. Also that if you have a day pass or for the day pass, it's like, how do you figure out when to activate 2 one-ways if you were doing that, or if you had more than one in your wallet? And I think that's, well,
I didn't love the automatic activation either. I think we would have a lot of people buying tickets at 11 p.m. the night before, realizing that they needed to take a train by 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But it seems like we have the worst of both worlds now. And I mean, I'd be curious eventually for an analysis from the conductor perspective as well, because to me, the goal here is I do think we should try to cut down on people trying to game the system, trying to cut down on conductors having to harangue people on the train. But if we're still having to do that, if people are subject to being 90 seconds late on activating and we can't buy 10 trip tickets anymore, seems like none of the goals were achieved.
Larry has his hand raised as well.
Yeah, Larry. Larry, you're up. You're muted.
I think he's.
Now I'm not.
Oh, okay, now you're not.
There we go. Sorry, driving at the same time, multitasking. The last couple days, I've been doing a lot of training, and the new thing to do is what I did is I don't buy the ticket until I see the conductor in the car. Then I first go on the app and try to buy the ticket, and that's what people are doing. And I've watched the conductor stand there and wait and wait and wait, until somebody buys a ticket. And the other day, for example, I had a transfer to Jamaica. I ended up just buying a Jamaica to New York City ticket because nobody came the first time, and I wasn't going to do this transfer nonsense, this activate ahead of time, because it's crazy how their customer service has just gone out the door. Now it's all about the money, and people were complaining on the train left and right. I was just listening to what people were saying to each other, and they were not happy because of this activation thing. And there were some people actually did get the email. Like I said, I'm just sit there and I'm going to wait until I see the conductor. When I see him in the car, then I'll first go on the app, which is what a lot of people are doing, to buy the ticket, and then I'll buy it and I'll activate it, and then that'll be that. But the activation thing, it's crazy. It really is. And like what Brian said, you can't buy the ticket for the next day or that night or something of that nature. It's really insane. You buy a ticket, and then for whatever reason, you're staying overnight. Oh, sorry, you lose, because it's only valid for till 4 a.m. in the morning.
So what you're
I mean,
saying is you can still purchase the ticket on the train
Yep,
Well, you
that's
can for now.
without a penalty.
Well, you can for now until you start getting the emails, and then they're gonna block your account and your ability to buy. And then the step-up charges increase by $2 or.
Yeah, but I'm buying my ticket, and then I activate it right away. Buy it and activate it right away on the train.
It's.
It's just very unfair. It's the policy customer service has just gone out the door. There is no customer service anymore. It just appears that right now the MTA doesn't care about what the customer's experience is, in my opinion.
It seems like they're punishing the honest person who might make a mistake, purchase it too late or activate it too late, to compensate for the people that were taking advantage of the system. So it's like, let's charge us for the people that were fair invaders.
But Larry, you could very easily get locked out if that happens too often. And then you won't, it's gonna be a while before you can get back in. From locked out from the ability to even buy tickets on train time. That's a concern that, or that's I don't want to say tactic, but that is a mechanism that has been used in the past for people who have not bought tickets before.
Well, and I just verified here, so it's valid for 90 minutes, because I clicked on my ticket and you could click on details, 4:03 to 5:33. Wow.
So 90 minutes from activation.
90 minutes from activation. Because they don't want you to do a round trip. So that's why they probably do a 90 minutes. You can't get somewhere and back within 90 minutes.
Stu, he'll give you one more crack, Stu.
Thanks. I just wanted to add this. I know I've said it before. The trains I've been taking lately out of Montauk are generally 4-passenger cars that go from Montauk to Spionk and then express to Jamaica. It's 7 stops after Montauk to Spionk, about an hour, 15 minutes. The two people collecting tickets walk through the train twice, once just before Southampton and just after Spionk. So, we're talking about this terrible program of punishing program where we have to buy tickets the last minute. And the reason is because the crews are not collecting them the way they're supposed to. If the crews walked through every station or every other stop and they have time to do it, then we wouldn't be punished this way. So that would be my comment. Thank you.
Nothing against the crews, because personally on my branch, I feel the crowding and conditions make it impossible for the crews to collect if they want to. But for example, if you have a 90-minute or 2-hour thing with the activation, if you follow the rule and activate as the train pulls into the station and you're coming from Montauk, your 2 hours is going to expire probably before you hit Babylon. And if you're transferring, right, if the first conductor, I'm hoping that if the first conductor does it within the 2 hours, then you're allowed to transfer. But if from Bob talk to Babylon, they miss you, and then by the time you transfer to the train in Babylon, it's over the 2 hours. There's actually nothing you can do. You're stuck buying a second ticket on the train. There's no physical other option.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify that these trains are not crowded. I'm talking about the crews leisurely walking through, collecting tickets twice. These are not jam-packed trains. They're trains where the seat chart shows green, occasionally yellow. 2 people, 4 cars, and an hour, 15 minutes. And I'm purposely not recording which trains they are. I don't want to blame the crews. My sense is that this is because the railroad is run badly and does not supervise its people. And there are ways it could have checked to see when tickets are collected. So I wanted to be clear that I'm actually not blaming the crews. I'm blaming the way the railroad is run.
I would like the railroad to revisit. I think this is a recommendation in one of your report, one of the PCAC reports of expanded off-board fare collection is the sort of catch-all thing, at least in the city terminal zone. Doesn't have to be at every platform across the entire system. The Atlantic branch would seem to lend itself to partial pilot for this, where if riders who are trying to game the system or headed into the city know that at the end there will be they'll be prompted to show proof of payment, that I think can preemptively kind of get rid of all of this hassle that we're having. I mean, I think I took a train in London that did this 25 years ago. It's not too cutting edge.
So gate checking is an event, it's generally an event driven, although I've been at Penn Station just during rush hour when it's happened, but it'll happen at one, well, no, like it'll happen at one staircase, but if you go down to a different corridor, there's nobody there. So
Yeah, it'll be like 18, 19 on like the.
Yeah.
yeah, but not in the central corridor.
Yeah.
So I just went and walked up and down and just to see like where people were. I think that we talked about doing that more for not as a standard practice, because of that sort of wades into the collective bargaining and
Passing standards of conductors.
and when we were looking at as part of an opportunity for conversations with the unions and the crews and labor for and ways to improve safety on the railroads. Because on the Long Island Railroad, the conductors and assistant conductors, they do all the doors and are responsible for the safety. Whereas on the Metro North, there's an additional classification of conductor that is a ticket collector that doesn't have to do all of the same responsibilities that they do on the Long Island Railroad. So they have different job functions that I want to, that I think that we would need to know more about before diving in and making that recommendation.
Yeah.
Especially right now when labor issues are so contentious at the railroad.
Right. I don't think this would obviate the need for conductors or the current staffing levels at all. I think that customer service, safety, and continued fare collection for non-city terminal zone journeys would be still a substantial amount of work that needed to be done, but understood.
Because I'm old school, is there a history on if you buy your tickets on can they tell that you bought a ticket more than 90 minutes ago, or does it automatically go off the system once you're 90
It moves
minutes?
into your past ticket. There's current tickets and past tickets.
Okay,
So current are activated or pre-purchased, not activated, which is basically today. You can't buy one tomorrow. Or you could click on pass and it shows.
no, the only reason I ask that is that it's got a 90 minute validity from purchase, and you're coming out of someplace like Spionk, where it's over 90 minutes. It's because it's 90 minutes from Patchogue to Penn. So you're coming out of Spionk at a 90 minute validity and got to the trains 10 minutes later, whatever, by the time
Well, yeah, if
you
you're going
transfer,
somewhere,
time you transfer to Jamaica and your conductor goes to check your ticket,
could have become invalid.
it could be invalid,
That was fine.
Yeah.
it can be invalid before your trip is over. That's a problem. You know, I know if you brought it up now, they said, well, we're gonna check it as soon as you come out of Jamaica and in 90 minutes won't be up, but or someone buys it out of Southampton or somebody, you know,
Right, but also they're telling you to activate it just before boarding, so. I get to
Yeah.
the train station, my train's at 9 AM,
Yeah.
but I got there at 8:40, I bought it, I activated it, 20 minutes is wasted, now the train's 20 minutes late, 40 minutes is wasted.
Yeah.
But I'm not even on the train yet. Out of the 90 minutes, so.
We will look into, the fare policies at other railroads and the refund policies. And we will, also raise this at MNRCC and we'll together a draft to circulate.
I feel sorry for the person on staff that's gonna have to draft the testimony for the joint committee meeting this month. How are you gonna feel all this thing?
It could be Jack's last, hurrah.
He'll be long gone by.
I know.
You're gonna have to speak like an auctioneer to get everything in
We'll
2 minutes.
distribute, we'll
Practice.
distribute copies of the letter for people interested in getting a summary.
And no refund at all for a day pass, they don't even give you the 2 minutes,
That is really surprising.
what's the difference? Why give it, I mean, 2 minutes is crazy, but why give that for the one way, but not the day pass, what's the methodology behind that?
There's also concern raised about whether or not how this falls into the state law about fair,
It's balance transfer.
balance
There's
transfer.
a law from a few years ago that riders have the right to or are required to receive a balance transfer if their ticket expires before they're able to use the balance on it within 2 years of the expiration window. So there's some question about whether if say your ticket isn't used, does this mean that your ticket expires and you're entitled to that balance for 2 years past that time of expiration? We're not entirely sure if it falls under that law, but there's some discussion.
Or is that like, can you just transfer your MetroCard balance to your Omni?
Yeah, for 2 years.
Right.
Past the phase out of the MetroCard, essentially. So, question.
And the $10 fee, I mean, were we aware of that?
Yes, that's been in place for.
That's been, yeah, for a while, yeah.
It's like you find a ticket on the floor and you're like, oh, I wanna go.
Yeah.
I mean, teenage me never did that. I don't think that law was in place. Yeah.
Unless you find a monthly and a third of the month, then yeah, maybe hit the jackpot, but.
I
Right.
don't think the legal question about the $10 fee in conjunction with the law Kara mentioned was ever settled if the $10 fee violates that law. I think that's still an open question.
I think there's because it's prorated, so it's a daily drawdown on
Right,
that.
right, but they're doing proration and a $10 fee.
Is the-
Yeah, oh, yeah. Chris, you got. Get another bite at the apple here.
Yeah, you just broke up a little bit. But just to be very clear, there's one thing that and I did say this earlier, but I think we need to be very clear. Doesn't matter what zone you're in, but if a reduced fare customer who wants to purchase their train ticket, and let's say those machines don't work because they're famous for going out in the Suffolk County turf like there, at least they can still purchase the reduced fare ticket with the conductor. But there is some issues with the app sometimes when there's no Wi-Fi working in certain areas, not just in the tunnel, but at certain stations. Sometimes the Wi-Fi will work. See, if I left Spion and I'm going to Master Shirley, there's a chance the Wi-Fi will not work. There's a famous of the Wi-Fi goes out. That's something I did brought up last year, that there is a concern of Wi-Fi. This is even with Metro North as well. And also on the Metro North, I do see conductors lately because the trains are getting very heavy on the New Haven line. I see a conductor doing 2 jobs instead of 1. I've seen 3 or 4 conductors during the holiday season. So I agree with Lisa, but just to be heads up, I have seen them doing more on the train, because the trains have been turning red on the New Haven line, especially the express one. Thank you.
But that's, I'm just gonna say, on the, when you're on the station lines, that's the cellular service, not the Wi-Fi, because there's no Wi-Fi on trains, on the
Yeah.
railroad trains. So that's just.
Correct.
The providers on that.
Well, I can only speak for Verizon because that's the carrier I
Yeah.
had. But if you're going to Patchogue, half between Islip and Save, maybe Oakdale, but Great River, that area around Great River, nothing.
Not.
That's a total dead zone. Well, at least you got the cutting operator. So.
Right.
Alrighty, so that's takes care of the chair's report. And you want to do on call security before we. Kind of like outnumbered here. It's
always great to be informed first of all. Is it veteran yet or?
Yeah.
Okay,
I know you were taking obvious notes of this.
Yeah, no, I wanted to not, jump in at any point. I wanted to actually hear everyone's comments.
Yeah, no.
Concerns just as an open discussion. So obviously and at all these meetings, I will go back and, provide this information to everyone above me. Consideration for anything or any specific concerns or items that can be addressed outside of the as a whole. So it was great to be part of the discussion just because I'm able to go back and obviously there's like two big items I wanted to just jump in, but before that, I do want to go on non-fair. Would you rather keep the discussion on fair policy changes? Or we want to talk about
We want to get through everything, so pick how you want to start it and just go from there.
So, Happy New Year. Thank
Happy
you.
New Year.
It's great to see folks in person here at the Jamaica Control Center. So thank you so much for coming by. I know it's not the usual occasion, but I think it's great to kick off the new year here. So thank you again. As you mentioned during your remarks, I'm happy to announce that Laurelton, Locust Valley, wow. Valley Stream are all up and running. Valley Stream as well as the escalator. So very, very exciting. We had our event at Valley Stream late last month. So
I think you were trying to keep a certain newspaper reporter happy, so he wrote nice stuff about us.
Yeah.
I think that's his home station.
Yeah. So very exciting about that. I know there was a question about the Huntington Station pedestrian bridge, which is owned and operated by the town of Huntington. So I believe the work scope there is that they're doing some coating, concrete repairs, and installation of new concrete floor coating, which is always great for safety concerns, of course. I believe the last 2 days of work will be the last day of work will be tomorrow. Unfortunately, there was a delay. It was supposed to be open the 31st. We did let them know to update the signage there at the station. So I believe that it has been updated. If not, please let me know. I'll get in touch with the town to let them know they should be updating that. And then there is a couple of outages that I want to make most of. As you mentioned, I'm sorry.
Okay. You gotta have a lot of duplicity. But.
No, please. So on Forest Hills, there is a weekend outage starting tomorrow night until Monday morning. There will be cross-honoring by New York City Transit subways. And then as well as Saturday, the 10th to the 12th, there's no eastbound service at Hollis, Queens Village and Elmont UBS, which will also be cross-honored by New York City Transit buses. And then on the 14th, which I believe is next Wednesday to the 15th, we're going to be doing Sperry testing, which is a very important testing on the tracks. So buses will be covering there from going to be 3 zones, which will be within 3 zones. I'm sorry. That should those are 2 daytime outages. And the 17th and the weekend of the 17th and the 24th, we're going to have a Brooklyn shutdown for both weekends. So it'll be Friday night the 17th. I'm sorry, the Friday night the 16th into Monday the 19th, and then again once again the Friday night the 23rd into Monday the 26th. So I think the best way to find out about the outages and cross-honoring is obviously checking out the Train Time app, as well as MTA info for any bus schedules and for cross-honoring details.
There's scary testing also.
For that,
Geometry.
I will double check, but that's the only ones I had for that. I had, post-survey testing. I believe there's additional testing happening later this month. I'm just waiting for you.
For Brooklyn, no, for Atlanta.
For Brooklyn, Brooklyn is, I think, track, repairs, I believe. There's no testing there. That's just for road repairs. Then in here, so that's, I'll say the more lighter stuff here. So of course, so thank you for reaching out about Huntington. I thought that was something that folks had.
Actually, I monitor social media, and that was something that came up from one of the groups, the riders from Huntington. It's like, hey, it's supposed to be finished this.
Yeah.
And again, because everything is so split up, I don't know. It's like when you look at a parking lot cloud, you don't know whose responsibility it is. And so I heard that, well, us, is that Eric's responsibility? Is it the town of Huntington? Because I remember we had the big kerfuffle last year about the elevator being out so long. It was like, not our elevators, town of Huntington's, 8 months to fix an elevator, but
They had the change of administration in Huntington.
yeah, so I mean, it's just like, okay, so it's good to know who's responsible for what. So, you're not getting a beating for something that you have no control over. And it makes it easier to tell the people, when it comes like to something like the town of Huntington, and if I get a complaint from a rider from Huntington, hey, you get councilman, there's enough to bang on the railroad about. You can bang on town councilman about, Huntington Station. So
To add on as a funny note, I do go online, especially the railroad, like Reddit threads, and I always look at some, anonymously.
yeah, of course,
Whenever there's safety concerns, I usually pass it along to folks, as well as if there's anything that, if I can provide an update, I always try to, but usually it's for safety concerns, and I've seen that as well. So
yeah.
especially during the snow season, sometimes it'll be like, hey, this specific lot needs to be addressed, and if I know that if it's ours, I'll reach out to the specific, to the appropriate party, and if it's not ours, I'll also make a nice little courtesy call to whoever does operate there. So it's just something fun that I like to do every time.
Reddit threads are like, wow, that's a rabbit
It's an
hole that
interesting
is well.
It's a very interesting.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
did,
Anna, one quick question.
yes.
Regarding the back end. How far in advance do you put that out to the public?
I'm gonna be honest, as soon as I get the notification, I provide it as soon as possible once I have all the appropriate information. Sometimes we are given it far in advance, and sometimes if it's emergency work, sometimes we don't get that much timing in advance. But whenever we are made aware of specific work, outages, crossing, like full road closures, anything like that, we provide a notification to our community partners as soon as possible.
Okay, no, the only reason I was thinking, like when you mentioned Brooklyn, if someone that had tickets to a concert at Barclays or something, you're coming in from, you'd like to know that as soon as possible. So maybe you don't even want to buy the tickets, or if you bought the tickets, but just so you know that, gotta allow some extra time, because now you gotta go to Penn and come down rather than just go straight from Jamaica.
The president's office can put it out too.
Yeah, then this way, everybody knows.
Well, specifically.
You let the venues know as well, but I mean.
I would have to double check to see, because I usually have like a blast list for everybody, but it's usually, our elected officials, borough president's office, well, at least within the 5 boroughs, because obviously Albions is a much different machine out there. But as an example, will be like the borough president, local community board, if relevant, civic organizations like not block associations. I'm thinking back of when I used to work for a council member. State elected officials, council members, anyone that, even sometimes there are specific folks that I have connected over my time here, and I usually, depending on the relevant area, I will also include them in my notifications as well. Whenever people reach out, I usually try to add them depending on the specific location.
No, I appreciate that, and it does work, because out by me, we do have a couple of officials, one that I lock horns with all the time, but I gotta say that he takes your memos and he'll put them out there. By the way, if you live in Patchogue, River Avenue crossing is gonna be closed, on Saturday from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, because they're gonna do some or whatever. So they do get it out there to the local community. So, I mean, that is important. And I just want you to know that there are some of the elected officials who are picking up that and running and letting everybody know about it.
I've definitely seen my cell phone number float around on Facebook. So I'm glad that my notification is being provided to folks. I've seen it on a couple of news outlets
Yeah.
as well. So it's, or blast emails on like newsletters, which is what we want to do. That's the purpose of the notification, to get it as far and wide as possible. And we don't always, depending on like road closures, we don't always have the capability of having like the electronic signage
Yeah.
at every single location, depending on what we're going on,
Yeah.
multiple projects. But that is really helpful and, avoids confusion. As an example, I was going back to the Brooklyn outage, which is 2 weekends.
Yeah.
That program was finalized, I believe, on Monday, and I sent out a notification on that same time on Monday. And we do multiple reminders as well.
So I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So, it's about the time that the closures start. So on Friday, the 16th, the Bulls are gonna be at the Nets. And on Friday, the 23rd, the Celtics are gonna be at the Nets. Both of those games, both the Friday, the 16th is at 7 and on the 23rd, it's at 7:30. According to this, on January 19th, the Suns go to play at the Bats. I was a Yankees fan. That's a whole different story. That's at 7:30 at night. So, I know that there were at one point, there was a Ranger game, that went into this was not obviously at Barclays Center, but at Penn Station when there was an outage going on in the Ronkonkoma line a few years back. And it went into overtime, and the decision was made to push back the outage like until overtime ended so that people could stay, which I think was really wise and smart, because people didn't know until, because it was the last minute. Right,
Yeah.
so I think that it would be super helpful to look at the times of the closures and to put it in. Those are competitive. The Nets may not be competitive, but the other teams are high, volume teams, and it would, maybe to push back, if you can, the times of the closures on the Friday nights. And Monday is a work day for some people on the 19th.
Absolutely. So usually for the specific one, the outage starts at 10:45 p.m. that Friday. And then it starts back up Monday at 2:30 a.m., which is, great, obviously, for the morning peak. We do have staff that always takes into account all our major hubs, entertainment hubs, Madison Square Garden, UBS Arena, Barclays Center, whenever we do have events, even Forest Hills Stadium. And we always try to take into account if things do run over by a bit, we try to get that adjusted, so push it back. But thank you for that concern. I'll definitely make sure that our transportation team is aware that, if that's something that might come up, but of course there is the other option of the cross arm line, which would start then, but obviously not what people would anticipate, but definitely something we'll keep in mind though.
But it could make a difference between somebody driving and somebody taking the train, of not being able to, knowing they're gonna be able to get home.
Understood. Yeah, no, I will definitely touch base with our transportation team tomorrow to make sure that they're aware of these concerns and see if there's any flexibility there in service.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Chris, we're not ignoring you. We're just gonna wait till Anna finishes her presentation, then we'll do questions at one shot. Okay, go ahead, Anna. I'm sorry.
I did, definitely take Chris's question if it's relevant to.
I can wait. I'm following what the chair said.
I'm gonna jump into our. Just to keep things aligned, just to keep the streamlined items. So it is not, if your question's not at all about fair changes, we can definitely take it now.
Chris, is it about?
Yeah, it is about fair changes because there is.
Okay, wait, she's done then, okay.
Perfect, so we'll wait up to end then. So those two items I definitely wanted to, it's great to hear everyone's feedback, so definitely there's just two items I want to clear up, and then obviously there was a couple questions provided to me. We'll love to get into that a bit. So just, so Lisa, we actually don't block accounts. What happens now is that we do get warnings before you get the surcharge. And once you start getting the surcharge, you have to pay the surcharge before you buy another ticket. So we do not block accounts. there was a concern, a couple of people when we were doing the tabling sessions at different terminals. I did get that question. There were a couple of folks that were like, my account was just blocked, so we tried, obviously something that's concern that people have been coming, but we do not block accounts. So you do get warnings until the surcharge pops up and then you have to
You're
pay.
restricted from buying another ticket until you pay the
Until
surcharge.
you pay the surcharge, yes.
You have to pay like the $8 on before you can, on top of the ticket before.
You pay another ticket.
And how many times do you have to do that?
By the surcharge or before, or the
surcharge.
warning?
The surcharge,
You'll,
before.
When does
well,
the surcharge kick in?
the surcharge, that I will have to get back to you on that, but I know that people, I believe, have started getting warnings, I think.
Yes.
Believe, but it will be quite a bit, so you'll get a handful of warnings. And I will keep note of that, until, you get that first surcharge when it pops up.
And then the surcharge. Right, and how many times you have to pay the surcharge overage before?
No, you keep paying the surcharge. There's no limit, as long as you keep.
To pay the surcharge, you get a ticket, but then if you keep violating the.
Right, but if you then you
Then
go
they
back
then
and
you get other
Yeah.
if you change your evil ways, maybe, and you just.
Yeah.
Whatever that threshold is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll continue paying the surcharge, but your account will not get restricted. And if you do hear anybody, whenever, once the surcharge starts kicking in, if you have heard of anyone that's had any difficult issues like that, please reach out to me directly.
Well, it is restricting your account from buying a ticket. So it's not,
I mean, there's
it's not,
when you mean by
people are saying block or restricted, it is
So-
restricting you from buying a ticket.
it's restricting you buying tickets, so the difference is blocking is meaning your account completely is inactive,
Right.
meaning you would have to, that's a complete.
If they block your account, you can't pay the $8.
Right.
Right. So I mean, you're restricted from riding
Yeah.
and buying another ticket
Yeah.
until you pay the $8.
Yeah.
And there was the other item, which, I think the question was that, once you activate your one way, how long before it expires? And there was a question there. So obviously, we know that, your one way tickets are valid for activation until 4 a.m., right? The day after the purchase. So to avoid issues, we've been letting people know to activate your
Well, a
ticket.
purchase.
Okay, yeah,
Not just
yeah,
activation.
yeah.
An activation is 90 minutes. A
Yeah.
purchase ticket is.
So to
40.
avoid issues, to activate your ticket just before boarding, once activated, your ticket is valid for the limit time based on your trip length. So that's why,
So that's why mine was 90 minutes.
yes, that would be what, so I would, you could test that out by, buying, depending on the next trip length, I'm sorry.
Okay, mine was Hicksville to Jamaica. So whatever methodology
Yeah,
they used,
that's all.
we signed at 90 minutes.
Yes.
It was 22
Yeah,
minutes,
like a
right?
30-minute ride.
Not even.
Yeah.
So that's where that window pops up.
So you're saying that like the Montauk person would have the 3 hours that their trip takes, so they can transfer without issue?
Yes.
All right, well, it's at least the length, like mine was, I mean, my ride was 22 minutes, but they gave me 90 minutes. So it seems like it's at least triple the length of,
So that's why,
at least in my.
Well, it's nice to know there's cushion there.
yeah, so
Okay.
that's why it probably seem alarming, but it's not, it's
Not 90 minutes for all.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's depending on the length of your trip.
A little under an hour
That's good.
for Atlantic Terminal to here.
An hour remaining.
I bought my ticket at 3:53 and then it shows that it's used at 4:48. I activated it at 3:56. So it's had about an hour window, I guess I could use this ticket.
I know that Larry had mentioned that he's been buying his ticket on the platform, which is something.
On the train.
On the train. Oh, thank you for the correction. On the train. And, Larry, I appreciate your honesty. But
Sometimes he's a little too honest.
if anything, I appreciate you, Larry, because, honesty is best policy here. So I do appreciate you letting us, but the new policies is to avoid that. I always, for the last couple of weeks, myself and my other colleagues, some other, we've been out doing tabling sessions at different terminals. Once, about, I believe I think it was like 2 weeks before the Christmas holiday. We were at Atlantic Terminal, we were at Grand Central, we had folks out at Jamaica as with the ambassadors assistants, and we were at Grand Central and Penn during the morning and afternoon peaks, where we were providing one pages as well as brochures with all this information. And though a lot of these concerns were brought up, and it was something that, we had, I'm gonna say I had a great time being out there because there were a lot of folks that you know, like you mentioned, everyone's either on their phone and you never see the pop-up of notification pop on your phone, kind of exit it out, and you kind of forget that you saw it. And it was good to have that one-on-one contact with folks who are not either social media savvy or are old school with the flip phone, which I saw a lot of that, which is great. So I had a great opportunity to.
Those are new again.
The flip phone,
Yeah,
there's more flip phone, yeah. But in that, you know, we definitely were out there for a couple of weeks, and we're actually still out there. I actually was doing an evening peak at Atlantic Terminal just on Tuesday. I was there from 3 to 8 p.m. with the ambassador still providing information to folks who are, you know, had some questions or were unaware of the change, and they went into the machine and they realized some of their options has changed. But we're so actively out there for the next, well, I think there's another week or so of outreach that we're still doing. So, you know, it was, you know, still great to have our folks out there just to provide the information. So that's just a note that I wanted to start with. So I wanted to go into the questions that were provided. Do you want me to read the questions out loud and then go through my answers, or we kind of just want?
Yeah, if you could, just so we know what you're
Yeah.
referring to.
You can feel free to paraphrase.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you know, obviously with some of the concerns with the loss of the 10-trip ticket and the 11-trip ticket not a viable solution, you know, wanted to see what would be, you know, changes or revisions or would be made to the fare policy. So obviously, this policy just went into effect on Sunday. So we're obviously still actively taking in all the concerns and data becoming, I think, as I mentioned, with and going to the point that I made just now, that we have those sessions where we're out there trying to hear people's concerns and suggestions. You know, some people are really happy with some of these changes, and especially with our reduced fare riders. And obviously, there's some folks who are very used to their, you know, routine. So obviously, we're enjoying to have an opportunity to hear from our commuters, and obviously still taking in all the information. So obviously, it's a little too early to say, you know, what can be into effect in the future, but obviously anything that will be changed needs to be heard by our board and needs to be voted by our board. So that's
And
another.
are you hearing anything different than what we said in advance? I mean, that's our whole role, is to give you guys the voice of the riders in advance of making the changes. So it's like, we gave all that feedback, but now you're waiting to actually hear from the riders and possibly change things. Like, are you hearing anything different that we didn't anticipate?
Well, I don't hear all the comments that come in through our customer service. So that would be something that I can't make a decision on I can only say what experience I've had.
Right, I mean, you know, did you hear anything different or other feedback or recommendations that we did not express in advance?
Activation, and once, you know, obviously my suggestion, you know, obviously everyone's routine is a little different. Some people are so used to buying the round trip ticket, and some people, and one person that I'll say an example, that there was an older adult who would say, what am I gonna do now if I can't buy my tickets, you know, overnight? And I would say this, unless you know that you're actually going to travel, sometimes your plans change. Sometimes you're like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to my doctor's appointment. And I said, on your way, unless you know, like, if it's helpful for you, if you want to buy it, he was a Train Time app person. You see, like, I enjoy the Train Time app, I'll use it. And I said, if you're on your way to the train station, because you know you're gonna be on your way there, that's when you should buy your ticket. And then once you're walking into the station, that's when you could activate it. That'll probably be your best bet. And he said, okay, maybe I should just give myself an extra couple minutes in the morning in my commute, which obviously, you know, getting accustomed to a different routine is, you know, obviously sometimes tough for everybody. But, you know, I think just asking people to be patient with a new change in their day to day. So obviously everyone's different, but that was just one connection that I made with somebody, which is something that I definitely saw as time went on, was the same conversation I kept having over and over with people. So that's just went on. But I definitely, you know, we're definitely taking in a lot of the concerns that you guys brought in, the suggestions as well.
Or even the public events that happened prior, like.
The public sessions that we had
Yeah,
as
that's why
well.
I'm like, you mentioned earlier, it just went in effect Sunday, so we're starting to get feedback now.
What
You guys have been getting feedback for months when
what
the
I meant-
proposal was posted
What I meant
and the
by
public
that,
events happened, and we also spoke.
what I meant by that, I meant taking people's comments of when the policy has started. So these are different experiences and different comments that are coming in, because people were sharing their concerns ahead of the policy changes, because obviously things were not solidified until the board voted on it. And now we're hearing from people's experiences now that the policy is now in place. So I believe that.
I'm just pointing out, we predicted these experiences. So it went into effect Sunday, and you mentioned we're getting feedback now. What I said earlier, I said 2 months, or whatever, 6 weeks ago at a public event. So we and other riders know the experience that they're going to experience once the effective date happens. We don't have to wait until it took effect on Sunday to hear these things.
I will say that I was disappointed in the number of people who came out to testify.
Or didn't come out.
Or didn't come out. Right, actually didn't come out because we had a great showing,
Yeah.
but there were not a lot of people who came out. And I think people woke up and one day there was surprise, there was this change.
Yeah.
And that their lived experience is what we absolutely, Brian, you're 100% right. Anticipated, expected, predicted, but that people are in many ways ostriches. What does it mean to me? It means a lot to them, to us. But it not until it actually happens.
Yeah. Although in the meeting.
And the reason why I was asking, are we practically representing the people that we're supposed to and providing this feedback in advance rather than having to wait for people to actually feel the burden?
No, but as Brian points out, 2 days, and I don't think anybody would object to this, that 2 days in August, right, in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Got subsumed totally by the transit fare changing to the switch to Omni. Like, I appreciate the board wants to consolidate its votes, but like to pair the fare going up with the rule changes, obviously got lost under the headline. I was
very upset that those were combined at the same time.
All right. What else?
And definitely, we definitely heard feedback from folks about the way that the meetings were set up. So that's something that, we definitely heard from folks. The second question was in regards to conductors not honoring senior Medicare, disabled discounts during the AM peak. So obviously, there's been some concerns. I'm glad that you sent that over to me. So online on our website, it actually outlines the items that would be redeemed. So our biggest thing and especially the influx from the last couple of weeks, has been how to apply for the reduced fare Omni card, which is our number one item that you can show on our system to get that discount, especially during the AM peak, which is one item that folks have been very excited about to get that discount now moving forward. There's a couple items on our website, but I think the biggest thing is to make sure that folks are getting the reduced fare Omni card and making an appointment at our center to get those cards.
But not everybody uses that.
Well, so that was the issue that we've seen over social media over the last few months, was that in the past, the reduced fare Metro card had a photo along with the name. And so people had a few instances on the railroad where they were showing their reduced fare Omni card, but because there's no picture, occasionally the conductor would say, oh, we don't believe you, or that's not you, you can't use that as proof. Seemed like a bit of a training issue, but it happened multiple times that we've seen. So just
Across
because,
railroads.
only on the Long Island Railroad.
Oh, okay.
If there's any specific items, because our conductors have been trained to see and understand what the reduced fare Omni card looks like. So if there are any specific instances that you do hear moving forward, please let me know. Let me know what the train and the train number and when the incident has occurred, so I can get that addressed and to avoid future instances like that. But the best way, obviously there are different items on our MTA website that are approved identification, but the best one would definitely be the Omni reduced fare card.
Thank you.
So then I think this is my favorite question, because this is one that has come in a couple of times. Some seniors have expressed confusion on whether they can still purchase tickets on the train without being subject to onboard surcharge. There is no change in how seniors. Oh, sorry, I had myself. Are we correct that the MTA's official policy is that every rider should purchase their tickets before boarding, though some conductors may vary on how they enforce in practice? Yes. There's no change in how seniors can purchase tickets, paper tickets on board. They can still, purchase, and they can still purchase paper tickets on board without being subject to the onboard surcharge. That policy has not changed. And if there's any confusion, let me know, but I think, which I'm gonna be honest with you, not to be funny whatsoever, I feel like whenever we were doing our outreach out at the terminals, I had the best hit with my older adult population. And, you know, they were very excited with getting that, reduced fare, AM, discount, which is something they didn't have before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, there was no change on how they purchase tickets, and they will not be surcharged, if they're buying the tickets on board as well. So that has not changed as well. And then the last question, which is something that has been brought up a couple of times during our discussion here, is about the change in the refund policy. So online, it has been fully updated. I checked it out, I actually checked it out just recently.
Yeah, well, is it on one page or there's still 2 pages?
So there is one page, and I'm looking at it right now, the refunds on the River Metro North, and it was just updated yesterday.
So there were 2 pages, so one that's on the fare policy and another a separate page that's on the refund policy. But they should be on one page so that people can
Or
find
at least
out.
a link from one to the other.
Yeah, because otherwise you don't know that there are 2 separate things.
So yeah, there is I just checked it out, there is a hyperlink, that page takes you to the refund policy page.
So that's new to them yesterday.
Yeah, so there is that, and then of course, if there's any question, we can definitely get you some physical, one pages if folks are interested in going into the area.
Do you have any idea why the refund policy changes weren't communicated at the same time as all the other fare changes and other policy changes that, you know, came down the pipe throughout the process earlier?
What do you mean during the
hearings?
The hearings?
And
I would have to get back to you.
because I think it was a big surprise to us that it came unannounced, unheralded, just dropped on everyone.
Wondering if the board even knew what they were voting on.
It was never discussed at a board meeting. I mean, we've been to all the board meetings.
And all the hearings.
There's no discussion, no press release, even nothing. It just all of a sudden was there.
I made a note of that. I know that someone had brought that up during your early discussion, but that would be something that I will get back to you.
Well, the thing is, like early on, remember before it was 4 AM the next day, the original proposal was tickets expire within 4 hours.
Yeah.
It was they're auto activated and expiring for.
Yeah. And the reason it's 4 AM the next day was because everyone says, you gotta be kidding me, 4 hours, and there was, and the board knew, and there was pushback from the board. No, we can't go with that. The
Also,
public,
so that people could get
The public-
refunds if something changed.
yeah, the public's not gonna buy that, And I think if they knew about, they were 2 minutes on something, I think that would have got pushed back right away.
But there was no opportunity to discuss it before. It
Yeah.
went into effect at all, which is really frustrating.
It should be returnable till 4 AM.
Yeah.
That's when it essentially expires.
But maybe the technology kick in, that just confuses everybody.
Especially if there's a service issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say if there's service issues or if you have, a personal issue or a family emergency or something like that, you should be able
So
to.
Chris's hand is getting tired, so maybe we should better let him, take his hand down and make his question. You're up, Chris.
Yeah, just to let everyone know, since I have to be doing a lot of Omni outreaching, and I have been out there between the islands and upstate as well as in the border. One thing, just so everyone knows, we left out one other thing. It's not just reduced fare. If customers have the Accessorize from New York City, and they have that card, or the nice one, or Suffolk County, their version of their card, they still.
Don't fade.
Hi, Larry.
No fading allowed.
Thank you, Larry. As I was trying to say.
Whenever you go, I need 2 minutes to throw the shit in the room and I'm done.
Larry.
Larry,
go.
language.
I do hear you, but unfortunately, I've got to actually run. Sorry, but I've got to get into a meeting now.
Understood. Larry, so funny. I'm sorry. What I was trying to say is there's also the Accessorize card also, because remember, they can still get the reduced fare price as well. With the PCA goes in for free. So we got to be very, clear, because customers who are using that does still have the option there. The other thing, just to bring up to Anna about the Geo for that first weekend, Anna, we really have to be extremely careful of the changes, because it's not just the J train that is gonna be out. There's no 4 and 5 trains in Brooklyn as well, because then the 2 and the 3 are gonna be extremely overloaded. And people going to Penn Station, it's gonna be more crowded there than maybe Grand Central, because if people have to go to Grand Central, they have to take the shuttle then to get to the other side, because there's no 4 and 5 in Brooklyn at the same time. They're doing such a geo, it's not even funny anymore. Track work on that, sorry, on that as well. So
Thank you, Chris, for bringing that up, because in my notification.
I'm sorry, Anna, you're speaking, can you speak a little louder? Because your transcript doesn't come out clearly.
Sorry, better now?
Yeah, now I can see the word. Thank you.
Great, yeah, in my notifications that, and also as well as, information that, well, it does also know that there's a training outage as well between Jamaica and Brooklyn. So that's something that was noted in my notifications. Sorry, and the cross honoring is at 34th, 34th Penn, it's the 2 3s and the AC. And then Atlantic, obviously at the Barclays Center, it's the 2 3 DNQR trains. Notion Avenue is the AC, and then Broadway Junction, the AC as well. But thank you for bringing up another different avenue. I'll definitely talk to our transportation team in regards to Grand Central and seeing that's something that's feasible as another cross honoring terminal.
And Anna, you also need to realize No Street is an accessible station for the Long Island Railroad. They can't take the 44 bus towards they can't go up to Marcy unless they have to go into Manhattan. So that's something that means we have a double header problem. And remember, A and C is not ADA accessible yet. So I just want to be very clear on that.
Thank you.
No problem. And everything else, I can talk to Anna later. It's all good. Thank you.
Briefly, I feel I'm disappointed that's not saying. I'm one day for someone here. Station, but maybe people are going all the way to Penn Central is not really. But you know, at least it is noted on the service change.
So potentially a weekend of a lot of operation.
Alrighty, so.
Thank you for that note. I appreciate that.
Okay, all right, so anything else for Anna? Quick? All right, yeah.
So the refund thing was never brought to the board as was discussed. I know you said in terms of doing anything to fix this fare situation imminently, it would have to be brought to the board. It seems if the refund thing wasn't brought to the board, then there may be some small things that can be done quicker. The whole purchasing the night before, like we should why I understand the 60 days and all this, but why can't the MTA at least allow us to purchase after 4 p.m. or something for the next day, give us 36 hours validity? That seems something that should be fixable fairly quickly if there's any interest in listening to the public, which as you know, I've always felt the MTA doesn't do very much of.
I know that issue though was part of the conversations and was voted on by the board.
The 36-hour issue?
No, the voting for activation for the next day. Was it purchasing? I'm sorry, for the midnight or 4 a.m. Midnight or 11 p.m. or something.
And that was never heard by the public because that change was you said all the uproar about the auto activation, that was done in response to the auto activation, but there was never actually a public hearing on that 4 a.m. thing. The public never got, it seems public should have been heard on that before it happened, and there was never a public hearing.
Wasn't that what I spoke about?
Activating prior?
Yeah.
It was
No purchasing prior.
The night before.
I spoke at a public hearing and addressed it.
That one was noticed.
That was, we had noticed.
A board meeting or a public hearing?
Public hearing.
and
board.
Because that wasn't on the table in August when the public hearings were held. That was the auto activation was on the table in August.
The board meeting when they made the adaptations though, the 4 a.m.
Then it was brought up.
Oh, that was brought up.
But yeah, just the night before, that would make a big difference to people.
Yeah, no, that's,
That's one.
Yeah,
one
because
we're
I-
gonna make.
I
yeah, that's why there's a
But
point
that's-
we're gonna, yeah.
That would need to be, what we're doing also is collecting these issues as you are. And we'll be looking at them sort of in totality to make our series of
Make a package,
recommendations.
yeah.
Thank you, I'm definitely
Yeah.
will take in your suggestion and concern.
And that's, I always hear that from the MTA, nothing to do with you, but it's very frustrating because there's never an answer or a follow-up to anything. Certainly for me, who's not on the PCAC like they are. I could say, however many times I've tried your department or customer engagement, I haven't gotten an answer to a single question in a year. And I send them fairly regularly. In terms of the fare change outreach, I was very upset that they did it in Penn, Jamaica, and Grand Central. Again, leaving out the Port Washington branch that doesn't go through Jamaica.
So what I mean by when we did those tabling sessions, so we had the one pager as well as the brochures and even the tear offs at, if not all the stations. What I mean by tabling, so we did announce that we couldn't fully staff at those. We had like a table at the terminals, but at different sections of our system, either they even had the station staff, either were there with the same doctor, with the same kind of outreach. Their schedule was just different, so we didn't promote them online. So the days that we were out there, we did promote them. I think it was brought up that we put them on social media at the larger terminals, but we didn't have like the sufficient staff as we did at those.
And I think if they could have 12 at Grand Central and 10 at Penn or whatever the number was, at least to have one at Woodside.
What we did, like
For those of us who don't go to Manhattan.
like I was saying, that we did have our station staff that was doing similar outreach stuff we were doing. We just don't have that many tablecloths and tables. Yeah, we couldn't market it at the same amount of time just because we don't have that many tables and tablecloths, but the station staff all had the same materials, so at the same duration while we're doing the tabling sessions at those terminals. So unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to promote it in that same aspect of, our social media marketing in the sense of our staff will be here, but throughout our system within those couple, there was like 2.5 weeks, I believe, and I'm sorry that that's incorrect. Our station staff had the same materials and we're doing that same kind of outreach
It was also when everyone was away. I didn't work those 2 weeks, so.
No, it was before, we did table sessions even before, I can let I can see what the dates that we're doing then, but it was the second week of December.
In Manhattan.
No, we started that outreach, like I say, we started when we had the tabling sessions out in those terminals. We were doing the same staffing, our station staff had the same materials. Starting.
I can tell them in my travels through Woodside and Great Neck, I never saw Woodside where we took this out.
You didn't see the 100 or the 4 people.
And if I'm gonna say something bad, like we got ignored on the December outreach, on a positive side, they did meet the manager on our branch. But on the negative, side, have anything back or, with all the time spent collecting feedback at Auburndale and Broadway, Great Neck and Manhasset and Port Washington. Now that it's been a month or 3 since that feedback was collected, is there any summary, any reaction to it, any hope to change what I consider to be the abysmal conditions?
At the media manager event that you had?
Yeah, we had them all over the branch. What happened with that feedback?
I was faced with the brand segment. So you met Lena, right? Morales?
Yes.
So
And she said people were very upset and Great Neck about the, still the Grand Central changes in 2023. They haven't, they haven't really done anything for us in 3 years. We're still, that first week, February 27, 2023, that it's still that week for us on the Port Washington branch 3 years later.
So when you come back to us with a synopsis and.
I can definitely touch base with the branch line manager and see if I can get a recap from the sessions that she had on the branch, and I can definitely make sure I share that information with everyone.
What's the best way for me to get that information since I'm not
No, yeah, they'll distribute it.
So if you don't distribute it, you didn't hear anything. I'll.
Well, why don't you just be absent and be.
Yeah, after the last 3 years, I'm sorry, my faith is gone.
I'll say this, Adam, I'm happy to say that I've been here for a year and change now. And I've been very happy to join these meetings on a regular basis, so, I'll definitely be in touch with everyone here, and, definitely actively, hearing your concerns and get as much information back out as soon as possible.
We gotta kind of move on,
Yeah.
we're way overboard here. So executive director's staff report.
Fine,
I'll be super brief. With they're actively engaged in at the, obviously the fare policy changes, the retirement of the Metro card and full transition to Omni. The city changes with the new mayoral administration, continue to advocate for faster buses and the expansion of the fair fares program. We're also gearing up for the Albany legislative season. We have a new legislative agenda for the year, which includes a couple new bills that we're excited about pushing. I'll skip going into the details, but I'm more than happy to discuss at a later time. Also, we're happy to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of congestion pricing on Monday with the mayor. And that's the really short version.
And I'm just thank Brian, Kara, Jack, and Jess for being so diligent and amazing in my long absence, and for everybody for really just being tremendous. So thank the team. Jack is ditching us, as you've heard. That's the t-shirt we're gonna get him. We wish him well, and we honestly do. But he's really awesome at helping to raise our profile in Albany and our legislative.
You guys are lagging again.
As far as anybody, but it's something that we hope to getting more interested in. So thank you all.
And I think we've got a good flavor of what was in social media. We need to.
I won't beat a dead horse, but it's a lot of fare change
Yeah.
things, 10 trip in particular, and just lack of communication when people are complaining online from the railroad as opposed to normal complaints that get responses.
Great. Any old business? Any new business? Or a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Excuse me, I did have my hand up. I'm sorry, this is Chris.
It's in your background, sorry.
All right, you're right. Last call.
Yeah, I just want to be very clear on one thing, because I heard when you guys mentioned about Woodside, but there's one problem, that Ruby was actually attending some of those outreaching about the fair, and there was a I can't even say that, a customer service person was at Woodside. But the problem is, you can't do a table at Woodside because of construction over there. But they have been there, over there, and Anna and I were actually at Bayside on July 31st. So we've been at the Port Washington, but Anna, this is something I think this year in the part of the New Year's resolution, we definitely need to go out more to make sure everyone is aware of the changes, and that they need to know about the new accessibility deals too. Thank you. Happy and welcome back, Lisa. That's also
Thank
one
you.
part of that's my new business as well.
Thank you. Post on the events, okay?
Officially, the meeting's adjourned at 6:09 PM.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Anna, for setting everything up. See you guys soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.